Hi, Hathaway Hawks. It's me, Miss Pixoto. I just want to say that I miss each and every one of you in our school building, especially my fourth graders. I miss seeing you each and every day. I miss seeing your smiles and your contagious laughs. But I thought that we would do something fun today. So what I was thinking is we're going to combine some math and some science, and we're going to be making Play-Doh today. Yes, Play-Doh. So all you really need is some simple ingredients. So what you need is, I have it in this bowl. You need 4 cups of flour. You also need 1 cup of warm water. You need some food coloring, okay? Now, if you don't have any food coloring at home, it's okay. You can still make the Play-Doh. It's just not gonna have a color, but that's okay. All right, you still get to play with it. But if you do have food coloring, I'm gonna do 4 different ones. So I have red, blue, green, and yellow, and I'm gonna show you how to make that. You also need some salt. So if you have any salt at home, and either vegetable oil or canola oil for the mixture. Okay, so we're gonna start off. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna fill these 4 bowls with 1 cup of warm water. Now, speaking of fractions, we have 1 cup of warm water, okay? But I have 4 bowls. Now, we can't put 1 cup in each bowl. So I want you to think about that for a minute. And if I have 1 whole and I wanted to divide that into 4ths, how would you do that? So we talked about in math that when the numerator, the top number, and the denominator are the same, we know that it equals a whole because it's the same part out of the same total. So if I have my 4ths here, we would put 4 fourths equals the whole. And that's what we have. We have the 1 cup of warm water. So I want you to think about decomposing that fraction, okay? So we know the denominator, it's out of 4ths. So I'm gonna write that down. Okay, so we have something fourth plus something fourth plus something fourth plus something fourth is going to give me my 4 fourths. Right, so if you said 1/4 plus another fourth plus another fourth and another one, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 4, or we could have simply done 1/4 times 4. So what we're going to do, so the answer is 1/4. We're going to put 1/4 of that warm water in each bowl. So I have my 1/4 measuring cup. And what I'm going to do is simply just pour it until it fills the top, and I'm going to pour it in. So that's your first step. You're taking the 1 cup of warm water and you're dividing it into 4ths. A little bit. This one. Okay. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our food coloring and you just squeeze the bottle, and I would say about maybe 5 to 6 drops. So I have my red. Now I have my blue. And now I have my green. And then the yellow. Okay, so I dropped about, 5 or 6 drops in each bowl. The next thing that we're going to do, so the next step is you're gonna take your vegetable oil, and for this, it calls for 2 tablespoons total. So if I have 2 tablespoons total, but I have 4 bowls, I want you to think about wholes. So the total is 2, you have 2 wholes, but we have 4 bowls. So think about that for a second. How much am I going to put in each to make it equal? Make an equivalent fraction. Think about a whole. How would I divide that whole in half? Right, if you said a half here and a half here, that makes 1 whole. We need to get to 2. So now you're going to put a half in this bowl and a half in this bowl. They all have to be equal. So 4 halves, okay, 4 halves equals 2 wholes. A half and a half makes one hole, and another half makes another hole. And 2 holes makes the number 2, our whole number. So I have my oil right here, and then this measuring cup, it's half. So you're gonna simply, you may ask an adult to help you, take your oil, and you just wanna put about half in there. And you can see how it changes in the bowl. Kind of makes it like a little bubble in there because it has to do with the science part of the oil. Think about density, okay? All right. So now that I did that, put that to the side. So everything's in the bowl. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our dry ingredients. And our dry ingredients was the 4 cups of flour, and you're going to need 1.5 cups of salt. So in this bowl, I am going to dump, I already pre-measured it, I'm gonna dump my 4 cups of flour. It's a lot of flour, okay? And after I do that, I already have like a little mixer in there. I'm going to add, it says 1.5 cups of salt. So if I have a cup here, I'm gonna fill my cup, just like this, with salt all the way to the top. This may take a few seconds. And the salt does help with the balance of the mixture in order for it to be like a nice fluffy dough. So I just did 1 cup, and it says 1.5. So I'm gonna take this 1 cup and I'm gonna divide it into half. So I can see in the inside, it has a little half mark. I'm going to go up to that half mark, which is about there. Okay, so I have all my dry ingredients in a big bowl. And I'm gonna take my spoon. I have spoons right in here. And I'm also gonna put my spoons in the bowls right now because I know I'm gonna be mixing now. I'll grab another spoon. And now in my bowl, I'm just gonna mix, as you can see, I'm gonna be mixing the flour and the salt together. So you just wanna kind of rotate it clockwise just a few times, nothing crazy, just to kind of get that mixture mixed up. And this might take a little, I'll say about 10 or 15 seconds, just to get it all mixed up. It's pretty cool making Play-Doh from home, and you don't have to buy it. Simple ingredients. Again, it was flour, salt, vegetable oil, warm water, and if you have food coloring. All right, so I think I'm pretty good with my mixture. The next part for this activity, you are going to now put 1 cup of this mixture, of this dry mixture, in each bowl. So I have my 1 cup, if you remember, that I was using for my salt. I'm gonna take my 1 cup, just to be sure, and I'm gonna put 1 cup in each of these bowls. So what you do is you take it, and what you wanna do is just kind of slide off the rest, and you're gonna put it in all of your bowls. So 1 cup in the red, 1 cup in the blue, 1 cup in the green, and 1 cup in the yellow. You may have a little bit left in your bowl, which is fine, and sometimes that happens with measurement. So I might use this after. Okay, the next step is now you're going to take each of your bowls. I'm just going to push my food coloring to the side. Each of the bowls, now you're going to stir it, okay? And when you stir it, you're going to see that it's going to be like kind of fluffy. So I have my spoons right here. So now let me just push these all to the side. So I have the red mixture, and if you can see on the inside, okay, you're just gonna go back and forth and stir that up. It may be a little sticky, it does happen. You may have to add a little bit of water, and that might happen in this situation. When we measure things and when you're baking, Sometimes you have to look with your eye. I know that when my mom cooks, I ask her for some measurements and she doesn't even tell me what the measurement is. She says she just pinches it. So for flour, she'll just take it. She looks with her eye. And a lot of parents or adults will do that after cooking for a lot of years. They know exactly what the measurement is. So what I think I'm gonna do, and this does happen, I'm gonna put a little bit of warm water in the cup and I'm gonna add a little bit to each. And yes, it called for the 1/4 cup, but sometimes you just need to add a little bit more water in mixtures just to give it that consistency. So now that I did that, I can see it's a little bit easier for my Play-Doh. And it's gonna look like it's in pieces, but our last step, we're gonna add flour on the table and we're gonna knead it in order to make it come out the way we want it. So I have my red. My red is all set. Now I'm gonna mix my blue. So this is the part that's gonna take a little bit more time. So as you're mixing, again, at the end, we're gonna put flour on the table and it's gonna make the Play-Doh all come back together. This one may need a little bit more water. I know we measured correctly, right? We put the 1/4. And like I said, sometimes you may have to add a little bit more water if you look with your eye. Sometimes you might have to add just a little pinch of flour. It could be a little bit too wet, okay? All right, so now I have my red and my blue. I'm gonna go to my green. And you can turn your bowl and mix it and you'll start seeing it come alive. So I'm kind of just mixing in between my bowls. I have to like chop a little bit. Okay, almost done with the green. I may add a little pinch of water just to make that inside of the bowl move a little bit. And that made it a little bit better. All right, and the last one that we're gonna do, so we did red, blue, green, and now we're gonna do the yellow. So I'm turning my bowl, separate that. So I'm turning my bowl, mixing it up. Use that elbow grease. All right. And the yellow was pretty good. You didn't see me add any more water in it. So that actually came out pretty good. Okay. Almost done. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some of that, I have extra flour. So here's my bag of flour. And I may have to clean the table for each color. But what I'm gonna do is with my flour, I'm just gonna drop a pinch on the table, something like this, okay? And spread that out. What that's gonna do is when we take our colors right now, it's just gonna make it a little bit easier to form, okay? So I don't need my spoon anymore. I'm gonna put that in the sink. And I'm gonna take my Play-Doh, you can grab it whole, and I'm gonna put it right on the table, just like that. And what you wanna do, it's called kneading. You wanna go back and forth with the flour, and it's gonna make it really soft and come together. And the flour kind of comes off of it, you'll see. After we're done, you'll have the color. And there you go. You just made Play-Doh. As you can see how the flour is already coming off of it? You can see the red color. So the red came out really good. It's really soft. Actually has a pretty good smell to it. And you can see how easy we made that. There's the red Play-Doh, okay? I think that came out really good, actually. And you can play with this. I mean, what better way than over this time, especially it's supposed to be raining, it's gonna rain later today, the rest of this week, you can make this Play-Doh. So I'm gonna form each one, and after you're done, so I'm done with the red, what you wanna do is put it in a sandwich bag. If you don't have a sandwich bag, you can wrap it up in like a plastic cling. And when you put it in the bag, you wanna take the air out and just go like that. And you're gonna store it in the fridge, okay? In the refrigerator, it's gonna make it cold and easy to play with. So I'm gonna put the red one right there. Now I have some little red pieces in my flour, so I'm just gonna push that to the side. You don't wanna get that in the blue. And I'm going to take my flour again, just a little bit, nothing too much. I'm gonna put the rest in there. Now you're gonna take the blue. I don't need the spoon. I'll take some stuff off, put that in the sink. You're gonna take the blue right now. Let me just slide the red. You're gonna put the blue down. It looks like it's like in chunks and pieces, and that's the way it's supposed to happen. But now, with that flour, remember that flour it's what really holds it together. And the flour comes off of it, so don't worry about it. It's not gonna stay like that white. You're gonna knead it. Knead it means you're kind of gonna really put your hands into it, and you're going to form it. And you're gonna have little pieces here and there. Form it, and now we have our blue. As you can see, a nice blue, soft Play-Doh that you can play with, okay? So you're gonna take that blue. Blue's all set. You're gonna put it in your plastic bag or in a sandwich bag. Remember, take the air out of it. So you just wanna like take all the air out, just push the air out. Doesn't have to be Ziploc, just kind of fold it underneath. And now you have the blue. So I'm gonna push that flour to the side because it does have a little bit of blue pieces in it. And we're going to put a little bit more flour on the table. And now we're gonna do our green. Throw the spoon. Take the green pieces. You wanna maybe just dump it right on there. All right, so we're done with these. We got the red and the blue. Again, the flour is gonna help. It's going to push it all together. Knead it. Knead it is very important. You're pushing it together, okay? That flour will come out of it, but now you have a nice green Play-Doh that you can play with. Look at that. That came out really good. All right, you can see how nice and soft it is. It's not sticky at all. It's not sticky, it's so soft. Very clean, easy to play with. Play it on a table at home. All right, now you're gonna take it. You're going to put it in your plastic bag. Remember to take the air out, push it out, and now you have your green Play-Doh. So you have the red, the green, the blue, and our last color for today is our yellow. A little bit of flour. Put that back. And you're gonna take the yellow. Let me just put the spoon in the sink. Take that yellow Play-Doh. Grab it from the bowl. All right. And you're gonna knead it. Kind of like if you're making pizza. All right, you're gonna knead it back and forth. And that white flour will come off of it. Perfect. There you go, nice and soft. Yellow consistency. You can see it. So, I love this lesson. First of all, who doesn't like to make Play-Doh, right? It's so much fun, easy ingredients. You got, like I said before, the flour, the salt, the oil, and some water. And if you have food coloring at home, and if you don't, this would just be like that, like this dough color, okay? Like the flour color, which is perfectly fine. Okay, maybe you can find ways to kind of give it some color. I love this lesson too because it involves some fractions. We talk about fractions every day, how we can connect that to everyday life. And it's with baking, it's if you're thinking about running outside, how many miles you're doing, what type of, if you're doing half a mile. So the lesson is super fun. I'm gonna take this Play-Doh, I'm not gonna lie, maybe later on, after I'm done with doing some stuff, I'm gonna play with it. So here's what I'm gonna ask you to do. Speaking of this, take the Play-Doh, let me just put it in our last bag. I'm gonna ask you to try to modify this. And what does that mean? How am I gonna modify Play-Doh, right? Well, think about if you can add something to this Play-Doh. Maybe you have some glitter hanging around, right? Maybe in the mixture, you can add some glitter and see how that comes out. Another way to modify this, if you're thinking about some scientific terms and some math, is maybe you're not satisfied with the amount that you have. How could I make more of this yellow? So I want you thinking about doubling. Think about doubling or tripling that fraction. And I know in my math class, we've already multiplied fractions. So you're gonna take each measurement that we talked about early in the video, and if you wanna make more of something, you need to multiply it by how much you wanna make. So if you wanna double it, you would multiply it by 2. If you wanna triple it, you would multiply it by 3, and so forth, quadruple, okay? I'm gonna ask you to do this. I'm very interested, so here are my 4 colors, of red, yellow, green, and blue. I wanna see your creations, okay? So when you're done with making your Play-Doh, I want you to create me something. And I would love for you to send me pictures, and you're gonna send it through my email. You can also send it through Blooms, okay? And if you wanna write about it, what you did with it, who you played with, how you created your Play-Doh, did you modify it? So I would love to see your creations, and I would definitely write back to you and we can discuss your Play-Doh mixture. So if you wanna email me, okay, it's Jessica Peixoto, so that's Jessica Peixoto at newbedfordschools.org, okay? So if you want to email me, it's Jessica Peixoto at newbedfordschools.org. And if you want to post a picture on Blooms, just ask your parents or your guardians how to help you, and you can put that on Blooms. Okay? So I think we created some Play-Doh today. How cool is that? I'd love to hear from you guys. Email me, ask me anything you want. Again, I do miss you guys. Something that I thought about. If you have Instagram and IG, they have this cool thing on there. I actually wrote it down. It's called Save the Stories. So it's hashtag Save the Stories. I'm sorry, Save with Stories. Okay? And what this is, it's a bunch of celebrities, just celebrities, could be athletes, that are reading books to students. It's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I checked it out. I saw Ellen. There was some, I think Brad Pitt was on there. There was some Taylor Swift. Just, reading books to students during this time. And I thought it was pretty cool. So if you have time, go on Instagram and check that out. Okay? Save with Stories. All right. Till next time, boys and girls. Hathaway Hawks. Hawks fly high. I will see you. And the next lesson we can do will be in a couple of days, and we'll do something exciting. All right. Bye, boys and girls.